In the heart of the rugged Montana frontier, where the wind howls secrets across endless plains and trust is as scarce as rain, widowed rancher Caleb Thornton ordered a mail-order bride to fill the aching void left by loss, expecting a gentle stranger to build a new life, only to watch in stunned silence as her fierce, unyielding sister stepped off the wagon, her eyes blazing with defiance and a secret that could unravel everything. If this tale of deception, passion, and jaw-dropping twists hooks you from the first line, hit that subscribe button now. Join thousands in the USA and UK who get exclusive, heart-pounding stories delivered weekly, igniting your imagination with tales of untamed hearts and wild frontiers. So don't wait, subscribe today and ride into the adventure. Caleb Thornton stood at the edge of Willow Creek's dusty stagecoach stop, his weathered Stetson tipped low against the relentless Montana sun, his broad shoulders tense beneath a worn flannel shirt as he awaited the arrival of Miss Eleanor Grayson, the soft-spoken schoolteacher from Boston whose letters promised a quiet companion to share his sprawling ranch and mend the heart shattered by his wife's death 3 years prior. The townsfolk milling nearby with curious glances, whispering about the lonely rancher's gamble on a mail-order bride, their murmurs mingling with the creak of wagon wheels and the distant lowing of cattle, the air thick with the scent of sagebrush and anticipation. But when the stagecoach rattled to a stop and the door swung open, it wasn't Eleanor's demure figure that emerged but a woman with fiery auburn hair tied in a loose braid, her emerald eyes sharp as a hawk's, her travel-worn dress doing little to hide a stance that screamed defiance, introducing herself as Abigail Grayson, Eleanor's older sister, her voice steady but laced with an edge that set Caleb's instincts on alert, explaining that Eleanor had fallen ill at the last stop and sent her in her place, a claim that sounded rehearsed to Caleb's ears, honed by years of reading Men and Beasts on the unforgiving frontier, and though he invited her to the ranch out of obligation, suspicion gnawed at him as they rode in his buckboard across rolling hills dotted with wildflowers and grazing horses, the silence between them heavy, Abigail's hands fidgeting with a locket she wore, her gaze darting to the horizon as if expecting pursuit, and upon reaching the ranch, a sturdy log cabin flanked by a barn and corral under the shadow of jagged mountains, Caleb offered her a room, watching her closely as she unpacked a single bag, her movements too precise, too guarded, for a mere substitute bride. His questions about Eleanor met with vague deflections, stirring a hunch that Abigail was hiding something bigger than a sister's fever, and as days passed, her presence disrupted the ranch's rhythm, her sharp wit and bold ideas, like suggesting they rotate grazing fields to save the overworked land, clashing with Caleb's cautious ways, yet sparking an unexpected attraction. Her laughter over shared meals thawing his guarded heart, their hands brushing during chores igniting a warmth he hadn't felt since his late wife. But the first twist came one moonlit night when Caleb caught Abigail sneaking out to the barn, rifling through his old saddlebags, her face pale as she clutched a crumpled letter, and when confronted, she admitted Eleanor wasn't sick but had run off with a gambler, leaving Abigail to honor the contract or face ruin, for their family back east was bankrupt. And she had come to protect Eleanor's reputation, hoping to convince Caleb to release her from the agreement, but before he could respond, hoofbeats thundered outside, heralding the arrival of 3 armed men led by a scar-faced bounty hunter named Jericho, who claimed Abigail wasn't just a sister but a fugitive, accused of stealing a fortune in jewels from a Boston tycoon, her locket holding a map to the hidden loot, a revelation that rocked Caleb, who saw truth in her terrified eyes but also deception, forcing him to decide whether to turn her over or protect her. And choosing the latter, he drew his rifle, driving the hunters off in a tense standoff, bullets grazing the barn as Abigail fought beside him, her courage undeniable, yet her silence about the jewels deepened his mistrust, and as they hid in the hills, she confessed a deeper truth. Eleanor had stolen the jewels to escape an abusive suitor, and Abigail had taken the blame to save her sister, the locket a decoy to mislead pursuers. But the real twist lay in Caleb's own secret, revealed as they sheltered in a cave. He wasn't just a rancher but a former Pinkerton agent, retired after a botched job left his wife dead, and he recognized Jericho as a corrupt ex-colleague hunting Abigail for personal gain, not justice, their shared secrets forging a bond as they plotted to clear her name, returning to the ranch to find it ransacked, Jericho's men closing in, and in a desperate plan, Abigail proposed luring them to a nearby ghost town, using the locket as bait, the climax unfolding in a crumbling saloon where Caleb and Abigail set traps, collapsing beams and hidden dynamite, outsmarting Jericho's gang in a chaotic fight, Abigail proving her mettle by disarming Jericho with a well-aimed poker chip toss, Caleb subduing him with a fist, and as the dust settled, they found the real jewels hidden in Eleanor's abandoned trunk. Sent back to Boston to clear Abigail's name, the ordeal cementing their love, Caleb offering her not just freedom but a partnership. Their kiss under the Montana stars a promise of a shared future, the ranch thriving as they rebuilt, Abigail's bold spirit complementing Caleb's steady hand. But in a final twist, a letter arrived months later from Eleanor, now safe and married, revealing she'd left one jewel behind in the locket, a diamond worth a fortune, hidden as a gift for Abigail's sacrifice, turning their modest life into one of quiet wealth, which they used to fund a school in Willow Creek, Abigail teaching children her fierce independence, their love story a legend whispered across the frontier, proof that sometimes the wrong bride brings the right redemption, and the wildest hearts find home in the unlikeliest arrivals.